I sit down at my piano every day, working hard to improve my playing so that one day I will sound as great as my favorite players. Now I know this is going to take years of practice, but most of the time I'm just happy to be on the pursuit. That's why I hoard so many jazz books. I'm comforted by knowing that everything I ever need to learn about jazz is right here in this stack of books. But when I jump in the car and I put on my favorite album, there's something extra about it that I just don't remember ever reading about. Now, over time, as much as I love these books and as much as I've learned from them, it's become very clear to me that these books do not have the answer to every problem we'll encounter as a jazz musician. Now, one of my all-time favorite jazz albums is the Monte Alexander Trio live at the Montreux Jazz Fest in 1976. Monte Alexander on piano, John Clayton on bass, and Jeff Hamilton on drums, and it just kills. Now, a few weeks ago, I was shocked to find out that there is a video recording available of this concert. And I guess in hindsight, of course there was. It's the Montreux Jazz Festival, but I have never seen it. I don't think you understand how much I love this album. I dropped literally everything I was supposed to do that day in order to watch this concert, and I'll tell you, I learned a few new things along the way. Notice how Monte's lines almost talk to you with how well they are punctuated and inflected. So listen to the way that Monte articulates these notes. And don't just listen, I mean, look at it. His fingers could pound nails. And this trio's swing feel is just so tight. Now, I think my big takeaway from watching this on video that I couldn't get from just listening to the album is just the energy in the room. It's how much confidence he has in himself to inflect the lines like this.
I like to go for walks and listen to my practice session on my headphones. By leaving the piano behind, it helps me listen from an audience's perspective, and now I can't help recognize just how bland my own playing is. It's never really bothered me before, but now that I'm aware of it, I have got to do something about it.
I was on a business trip in Austin, Texas, and with nothing to do in the evenings, I went to go find a good jazz club. And I went to Antone's Blues Bar. Antone's is one of those famous jazz clubs in Austin where B.B. King used to play all the time. So I went up to the bar and ordered a drink. It was a Woodford Reserve, a double on the rocks with a dash of bitters. If you ever see me at a jazz club and want to buy me a drink, that's the drink you buy me. Anyway, I kind of like to be out of the way, so I took a seat in the back right corner, and I just enjoyed the show. The band that's playing is this group called Lil Ed and the Blues Imperials, and they are absolutely killing it. So partway through this show, I have this revelation. He's using the same scales that I know, the same chords that I know, the same voicings that I know. But I can't help but start to feel a little bit frustrated, right? Or jealous, maybe is a better word. I've spent a lot of time, many years, learning how to play this stuff. Why don't I sound that cool? So after this trip, months had gone by, everything had kind of gone back to normal. I was practicing my normal stuff, I was playing my normal gigs. All this frustration I felt in the moment, right? Time had helped it pass. It was now just in the back of my mind. That was until I had a lesson with a local university professor, because in the middle of that lesson, he said to me, "That's a cool line, man, but I'm just not feeling it." So I played it again, and I played it a third time, and it just wasn't working for him. So he scooted me aside off the bench, and he sat and played that line back to me. And like, wow, what? There it was. That was the sound that I wanted. I was taken right back to Antone's, and I was telling him how frustrated I was from that experience. And he gave me some advice that changed everything for me. He said, "Your lack of confidence comes through in your sound. You know this tune. You've got great ideas. Why don't you play it like you mean it?" Man, I felt that in my stomach. I knew he was right about this. I knew he was right. I knew this stuff. I knew this song. I knew these techniques. But up here, I was full of self-doubt, and I had never realized how much that self-doubt was affecting the sound that came out of my hands. So I went back and listened to the recording of that lesson, and I could hear it now. I was just playing too timid. My rhythm was soft, it was imprecise, there was no phrasing at all. I mean, I wasn't playing anything technically wrong. I had made fine choices, my notes and rhythm, I was playing it with good time, but it all just felt, I don't know, I guess uninspired. So as I worked at it, I started to notice some changes. I noticed that my fingers started to hit the bottom of the keys a little bit differently. I want to say maybe a little more forcefully, but even when I'm playing soft, It was more like they were hitting them precisely and in time. I also noticed I was playing more with my arms and my shoulders. For the first time, I was feeling the groove in my whole body, like I was dancing. And I found when I did that, the sound that came out of the instrument was just better. Knowledge from books will only take you so far. If you want to be a chef, you can't just study recipe books. You gotta cook. If you want to be a scratch golfer, you gotta get out and hit balls. But for many of us, for some stupid reason, think that we can just music theory our way to playing jazz. But by embracing this learning through experience, I've discovered so many things that I've never read about in any of those theory books. I noticed that my eighth note and triplet lines were sounding kind of weird, and they didn't sound anything like the records. They were kind of short and a little too bouncy. But when I listened to my favorite artists like Oscar Peterson, I noticed that the lines connected, like it was almost like it was played legato, but with a little bit more crisp of an attack on front of it. There was no space between the notes. But I noticed that quarter notes were treated kind of differently. They weren't so connected. There was definitely space between each one. And one thing I had not noticed before was how precisely controlled the amount of time he holds each of those quarter notes is. There was a very precise amount of time the note was held versus the space between each note. And I found that those two things locked really well into the swing feel. A fun fact, I used to be a professional trombone player. And when you're a wind player, you put a lot of thought into how long you hold the notes for before you cut off the wind. There's a very precise start to the note and a very precise end to the note. And you have to make sure to put those things both in good time. But as a piano player, I think I had lost sight of that before. I had lost sense of this kind of secondary rhythmic layer, which was when the notes release. I also noticed that when a line ends off the beat, they're kind of putting a period on the end of the sentence. He's giving it a little bit of an accent, and he's playing that last note a little bit shorter. To get the right swing feel, you really want to emphasize the offbeat. But when your line ends on the beat, you still want to emphasize the offbeat. So the way that you do that is you control the release of the note. So I'm playing the last note a little bit longer, but I'm releasing the note on the end. Another thing I struggled with was how to accent the lines that I'm playing. When I was in high school, my band director taught me to accent all the offbeats. And today I think that's kind of hokey. What I think about more today is putting these accents randomly on the offbeats. I need to be very careful with that word random because I'm definitely not just playing randomly, but I am trying to play without a sense of a repeating pattern. I don't want the audience to recognize some kind of repeating rhythmic pattern. I want to keep them kind of on the edge a little bit. What happened for me when I was mimicking these lines is my intuition started to understand it. Even though if I couldn't put words to describe what I was doing, I had this innate understanding of the jazz language and how it was inflected. Let's try a blues. Kind of feeling a little hesitant. We gotta have some confidence. Love that chord. There we go. Feel it. You mean it. You got this. Nice and perfect rhythm. Now this sound, of course, is far from perfect. I've got a long way to go before I sound like my heroes, but I do feel like my wheels are greased again. I've been a little bit stuck and disappointed with my sound lately, and this has given me some motivation, given me something new to work towards. These experiences that I told you about all happened to me about 4 years ago. It's been a long journey for me to explore and really make these part of my playing. And don't get me wrong, I've had epiphanies along the way, but there's never really been one moment when it all just clicked for me in a moment. It's been something I've had to learn to enjoy the journey and continually work on improving for many, many years. A couple weeks ago, I got the opportunity to play with some really good jazz players. The kinds of people that I didn't think I would ever get the chance to play with. As we got closer to that first downbeat, I got really nervous. I could feel it in the pit of my stomach. But then I remembered all of this self-doubt that I have, the lack of confidence that I'm feeling, the nerves. All these things manifest in my playing. And they called me for a reason. They knew that I could play. They knew that I knew my stuff. They believed in me enough to give me a shot to play. Why would I not believe in myself in the same way? So I took a big breath, settled myself, and just played what I know how to play with as much confidence as I could muster. And you know what? We had a damn good time. I get to meet so many amazing people who are learning how to play jazz from this channel, but so many of them think that they can just learn the theory from the jazz books, they can put the techniques into exercises of the piano, and then voila, like jazz just comes out. But the reality is that's like 25% of the effort. It's critical work that we can't skip. You got to know your scales and chords and stuff, but all the rest of it is up here and in here. Because when somebody says, play Misty for me, they don't want to hear Misty. They could go to Spotify to hear Misty. They want to hear you play Misty. They want to hear what you have to say about it. So don't ruin that moment by being timid and hesitant about it. You've got this. If you found this video inspiring, hit that subscribe button down below and check out the rest of these videos that I handpicked just for you.